Hello everybody, this is Monty with Flowers by the Bunch. So today we're going to do something a little different. I am using, this is actually a glass vase that has been wrapped with birch bark. And so it's completely wrapped, but it does have a glass container inside this birch bark. So I have taken this vase and I have added a block of fresh floral foam. I had to trim it to get it to fit down in there, but I think I'm going to be able to make this design more creative with the floral foam. Now, anytime you're using fresh floral foam, be sure that it is always soaked. Do not ever put fresh flowers in unsoaked floral foam because all that's going to do is clog up those stems, okay? So I wanted to use some birch branches. These are just some little short birch branches that we had. They were just in our dried materials. So I said, let's play with those. So I've got just a few small birch branches. So I'm gonna take these branches and I think I am going to do a linear, a more long center or arrangement. So I'm gonna take these branches and I have some snips. I'm going to cut that snip and tuck that branch right into that floral foam. Again, I'm kind of going in a linear look, so I want it to go long. So I'm just taking these branches and just tucking them right into the foam. And I'm only cutting them if need be. Of course, these are dried branches, so they don't need water necessarily. I'm just using the foam to make them stable in my arrangement. You can easily break those with your hands. Okay, I'm going to save these branches because I think I'm going to kind of come up taller with those. Okay, next what I'm going to do is I'm going to use some beautiful white hydrangeas. I am going to remove the foliage from these hydrangeas. I'm going to take my floral knife and I'm going to cut that stem at an angle. And I am going to push that right down in to that floral foam. I'm going to take a second bloom. Cut that stem at an angle and just nestle that right down into that foam, just like that. And then a third. Mum, a couple of large white mums. And I thought for a different texture, you can see how these are lots of petals, a little bit green in the center. I thought for a different texture down here toward the vase, I would nestle a couple of these pretty mums down low and even one a little longer out, just like that. So what I've done is I took my stem and I kind of laid my flower kind of where I want it to be in my arrangement. And then I'm going to I kind of measured it on the vase. I'm going to take my floral knife and cut that stem at an angle and press him right down into that floral foam. So you can kind of see how he's kind of protruding out from the arrangement. The next blooms I've chosen are these beautiful white garden spray roses. So they're very open, very large. They're really, really big flowers. I'm getting caught by my thorns. So I thought I might take these and nestle these kind of over to the opposite side and kind of come out with my branches here. So I'm going to take that stem, cut it at an angle, and nestle it right down in to that floral foam. Just tuck him right in. I'm going to take a second bloom. Go ahead and remove that foliage if you need to. Cut that stem at an angle. And I'm coming out a little longer, a little further out, and I'm going to push him right there, right in. So you can see how one side we have the roses, one side we have the mums, just different textures. And that's kind of what I was going for. Here's a third rose, and we've got kind of an open space right here in the center. I'm going to nestle him right down deep in the center. Take my floral knife, Cut that stem at an angle. And I'm just going to tuck him right there to fill in that space, and it just gives a little bit of a different texture. Now they're all the same color but different textures, so they give you a little bit of variety in that arrangement. Now the next flower I chose was some beautiful bells of Ireland. These are beautiful green bells. Now I like to pull the foliage out of the tip, so I'm just going to very carefully pop that foliage right out of the tip of that flower. Now to me it just cleans it up. If you want to leave the foliage, you certainly can. It's not going to hurt a thing. Now there's a couple of little blooms that don't look pretty. I'm just pulling those right off. I'm going to strip the bottom blooms here because I don't need it quite that long. Now my goal is to kind of come out with those branches just to give us a little bit more color. And I'm just pressing that stem right into that floral foam. I think that's a little long, so I'm going to pull it out. Strip those flowers down just a little bit. Cut that stem at an angle. And tuck him right in. I'm going to take a second bloom. Pinch that greenery out of the tip. And I'm going to angle him up just a little bit. So I'm just liking the idea of kind of being a little bit of a non-traditional but more of a vertical type arrangement. I think this would be fun on like a buffet or a food table, just to give you a little bit more of an interesting design. Take that bloom and tuck him there to pull that same green. Okay, so we have several bells of Ireland tucked in. And then our last bloom that I chose was these beautiful green tea roses. So it's a very soft apple green colored rose. I'm going to take some floral wire and I'm going to cut it into small pieces, and I'm just going to wire their little heads. Now for me, I just personally like to wire my roses. I'm going to take just a piece of wire. I cut it into about thirds. I'm going to press that in and twist that right around that stem. I'm going to take my floral knife, cut it at an angle, and I'm going to tuck these kind of sticking out a little bit. They're not going to be quite as deep down into the arrangement. We're going to kind of highlight those and have those give us a little bit more depth. Where it's not quite so deep, it gives us a little bit, it sticks out a little bit. I love this soft green with these beautiful whites, kind of a wintry themed arrangement. Tuck that rose sticking out a little bit. What I'm doing here is removing any of the petals that don't look pretty. So I'm just popping those right off. And so I'm just nestling these roses here and there in this arrangement just to give us a little bit of interest. I love all the colors together. It does look so wintry, doesn't it? Kind of pretty and fun. I have two more roses, so I'm going to tuck these two in. And again, I'm just kind of tucking them here and there, just where they're pretty. Turn my arrangement around. I'll tuck this one right down here with these little garden roses. Okay, so the last thing I'm going to do to bring these branches, I still have a few branches left. So I'm going to take my branches and I'm going to pop them into smaller pieces and just go throughout the top of this arrangement. Now you see I didn't use any foliage. I'm really using the branches and the flowers. If you decided you wanted to put foliage, you absolutely can. But I really think that it adds a little interest without the foliage, honestly. It's just kind of something different. I very seldom make an arrangement without foliage, but it's okay to do something different, okay? So don't feel like it has to be the same every single time. Step out of your comfort zone. And for me, that's a little out of my comfort zone not to use the greenery. But it's really very pretty. Again, I used a fun, interesting container that did have our wooden effect. It had the same kind of branch effect that I thought was really pretty. The flowers that we chose for this arrangement include 3 white hydrangeas. We used 2 of these really pretty white mums that had kind of that green center. I used 3 stems of the garden spray roses. I used 4 stems of the bells of Ireland. And I used 6 stems of the green tea roses. And then I used all these little branches, birch branches that we had. You can absolutely go out in your yard and pick up branches and different materials. I do think pine cones would have even been pretty in here, or evergreens would have been so lovely and made it look so wintry. Guys, if you have any questions about how we do things here at our flower shop, please ask. We're so happy to answer any questions you might have. If you would do me a great big favor and like this video if you enjoyed it, that would help people see us. And do me a favor and subscribe to our channel, and we will have new videos up 2 or 3 times a week. So guys, you have a wonderful day and we'll see you real soon.